Hi, this is Aaron and Linda with Traveling Flamingo. There's a lot of excitement around cruising starting up again. A bunch of things have changed since your last cruise, with new requirements, health checks, and more. Today, we're going to go over our top 10 tips so you're prepared for your next cruise. All that coming right up.
Let's jump right into our first tip, which is documentation. There are going to be two types of cruises going, vaccinated and not vaccinated. Even many of the unvaccinated cruises have plans and processes in place that makes it easier for cruisers who are vaccinated. If you're in a cruise line that requires it, you'll want to make sure you have proof of that you are fully vaccinated, which means you've had 2 approved vaccines by the CDC and you've waited 2 weeks since the second dose. You will also need the official vaccine card or document or whatever your state province is giving you. It's always good to also make sure that your passports and other documentation is up to date. Right, Aaron?
Yes, I did once forget my passport, or it wasn't updated, and just before we left on a trip, found out that it wasn't valid when we checked into the airplane, like 24 hours before. Had to get an emergency passport, and anyways, never gonna live that down.
Just check ahead of time.
Check your passport. Save yourself embarrassment. Port requirements. Our next tip is to research the ports that you're stopping at. Here at Traveling Flamingo, we do have a bunch of videos on these Caribbean cruise ports that you may want to familiarize yourself with. There are many ports. Different ports have their own requirements when it comes to being allowed to explore on your own. If you need to be with a cruise line guided tour or not, this can also, as you'll see is a theme right now, vary depending on if you're vaccinated or not. Some ports are letting vaccinated people self-explore, while unvaccinated people need to do guided tours. If you're going to be doing an excursion, you will want some time to research where you might be going and want to know what's sort of offered in those areas. Side note, if you are unvaccinated and need to do a guided tour, be sure to stay with the group. Last summer in Europe, someone left the group and was not allowed back on the ship, so don't be that person.
Yeah, that's not a situation I want to be stuck in. The third tip we have for you is check-in times at the port. You want to make sure you check them before you get there. It is common practice that you're given a window of time to show up to the cruise terminal to get on the ship. Many people would show up a little bit early or quite a bit early in hopes of getting on the ship earlier. To prevent overcrowding, cruise lines are really sticking to these times. We had a friend who took a cruise out of Bahamas and they arrived to check in 3 hours early and they had to wait. Now, they were actually doing that check-in process at a hotel, so it wasn't quite so bad, but you just want to keep that in mind depending how early you want to get to the cruise terminal, especially knowing that they're really sticking to those times, and especially if you're going with somebody or people who do not wait very well.
Yeah, and I think like the process is the process. You might not like the process, but at this time, just follow the process.
Yes.
If you're told to board at 2:30, show up at 2 o'clock just to get on there, but just follow the process. Packing. Our fourth tip is packing. Regardless of if you're on a fully vaccinated cruise or not, there's going to be times when you're going to need a mask, especially with your airlines, because most airlines are still requiring them. It's good practice in this current climate to have a few masks that are comfortable and good in the heat, so you'll be prepared. Test your mask. Try it during the summer. Make sure you're good with the heat, because some of them are thick and not great. That being said, the cruise ships will have lots of hand sanitizer around, but you probably want to bring your own for travel days and at ports. In regards to packing, you'll also want to make sure that you're prepared for all weather. You often only get 1 day at a port, and if it's raining, you don't want to miss out or be soaking wet on an excursion. There's always the garbage bag option, the garbage bag poncho. We've all been there, we've all done that. Generally not my favorite. I generally hate ponchos personally, especially when we're at Disney. They just get so warm and humid, and you dry quick enough in the warm weather. I would just prefer to not wear them, but they are good to take, and not everyone has the same feeling. I do hate wet shoes though.
Yeah, so you make sure you pack yourself an umbrella. I'll have a poncho.
I hate wet shoes. That's the only reason I wear a poncho.
The next tip is regarding embarkation and repatriation. Before you leave for your cruise, you want to make sure you have all the testing and paperwork you need. You may need proof of vaccination, you'll need your passports, bag tags, and you'll have to do a completed health check. If you're flying into a country to cruise, then you may also need a negative test to enter. So depending on if you're vaccinated or not, cruise lines will also have different rules for you. The cruise lines have been really good about sending out lots of emails with information, also giving calls to guests. So be sure that if you have any questions, ask, and make sure you do read those emails. I know we're all busy, but there's some really important information in them.
You will get a lot, so do make sure you read them.
Yeah.
Because like you get the odd ad and then you get one that's important. So check them all, right?
Just check. Especially if it's a cruise line you're cruising with, right? Yeah. We like to fly in a day ahead just to be sure there aren't any issues and we don't miss anything. And this year we have actually also decided not to fly home on the last day of the cruise, as we will need testing to re-enter Canada and want to be sure we have our results back. And actually we've booked a celebrity cruise and they told us that they're actually offering testing on the last day for cruisers. And I think this is great. We don't have to worry about booking an appointment or getting into a pharmacy for a test. I was also surprised that they didn't advertise that they're doing this for guests ahead of time, but they did recommend that you do leave a few hours before your transfer to get the results back. Overall, though, I'm really happy and impressed that they are offering these same-day results and that they're offering this service. Yeah,
also Royal Caribbean, from the email we got from them, they're doing the same testing. So, it's great that they've got it, and you don't have to leave an extra day after. We just thought we may as well, but you should get your results back within, I think they said 3 or 4 hours. So just make sure your flight's not early because if you need testing requirements and you have an early flight, you're obviously not going to make it. So on to testing. This brings us to our next tip, which is testing. If you are not vaccinated or you have children, you will need testing prior to boarding at the terminal. Many cruise lines are offering free testing to kids under 15. So depending on the cruise line, because they have different age groups for this, if you're 16 or older, you will need a negative RT-PCR test 3 days before, no longer than 3 days before you arrive at the terminal. You will then have a COVID test done at the terminal, mid-cruise, and again at the end of the cruise. Many cruise lines are requiring that guests pay for these tests. They're also required to wear a mask on board whenever they're whether or not they're eating or drinking.
Whenever they're not eating or drinking.
Yes. If you are interested in more information regarding vaccinated and unvaccinated cruises, we did do a video about that. If you are vaccinated, many cruise lines are not requiring a test. So if you're vaccinated, you just don't have to do these tests. You will need to check if you need a test to re-enter the country that you're sailing from, and if you need one to return home. You'll want to make sure that you know the testing requirements for yourself and everyone in your party, especially if you're international travelers. So for us in Canada, we have to get a COVID test on return. So it's nice that the cruise lines are offering it so that will be valid so we can get back into our country. But, different countries have different rules.
And then we also need one before we leave.
Before we leave, yeah. And there's different types of tests. So PCR is kind of the gold standard for everybody. So pretty much it's the more expensive test. But then there's the rapid antigen test and other tests that your countries might be able to use. So check with your country and whatever your entry requirements are.
Yeah, our 7th tip is to be prepared for change. There is still so much unpredictability and change in the world. We continue to hear of cancellations and port changes and more. So if you're not interested in the changes and the unpredictability, it's probably better that you wait a little bit longer before you resume cruising. For many people, there is already a lot of stress associated with travel, and requiring tests and masks is not going to help with that.
No.
If you don't mind things getting canceled or changed, then there are some good deals to be had out there. And with that being said, we also recommend that when you're booking your airfare, if you require it, that you do make sure that you booked where you can get a refund or credits in case it's canceled. It's just good practice right now with the unpredictability.
Yeah, and there's actually some good prices right now on flights and stuff, at least that we've seen as Canadians. We fly Air Canada, and honestly, the words good price at Air Canada are almost never used in the same sentence. But you can get a one-way flight to Florida for about $260, which is incredibly cheap for Air Canada, and that's Canadian dollars. So, cruise line apps. Our 8th tip is to download the cruise line app. There are lots of great features in these apps, including dining, excursions, and more. There's deck plans, so you know where you're going, because I always get lost. There's also messaging app features that they have when you're connected to the onboard Wi-Fi, so you can message other guests in your party. Many apps are very user-friendly and a great way to stay informed about what is happening on your cruise. There's also a lot of new safety features added, so you know what to do if you are not feeling well or if there's an emergency on the ship. Additionally, most apps will notify you before your cruise to check in and when check-in is ready. And many have digital health screenings now that are requirements for you to check in. So make sure that you have the application, because it'll let you know about that and you can do the check-in process. And it also reminds you of all the different sort of extra steps we just talked about here.
Yeah, this leads us into our next tip, which is muster drills. If you've cruised before, you're used to having to pause that excitement on the first day to congregate at the muster drill station, wait for everybody to arrive, and then there's usually an announcement. Some cruise lines, yes, some cruise lines did do this better than others, and it was sort of pretty efficient, and there was space to sit, and others there weren't. And so for safety and social distancing, muster drills are going to look very different. Passengers will review information on their own before sailing, and then when you get on board, you go to your muster station. It'll probably look a bit different for each cruise line, but just be prepared. You'll be doing something on your first day to simulate a muster drill.
When they made these muster drill changes, we do have a video on that too, which I'm sure is showing up somewhere on the screen. And the link will be in the first comment pinned below. Dining. Our 10th tip for cruising in 2021 is that dining is going to look quite different. There has been a lot of discussions around buffets and if they're going to be open at all. It appears most cruise lines have a buffet as an option, Linda's favorite thing, but it will not be self-serve. According to the CDC guidelines, there needs to be a crew member serving the food. This is great as it allows for casual dining whenever you want. Another change will be for unvaccinated guests. As far as we've heard, cruise lines are giving you a set time and location to dine in. It will be a bit more restrictive for unvaccinated guests. We've also found the specialty dining has been booking up. So you'll want to make sure you're booking the restaurants if you've got a cruise. Double check, see if you can reserve them, or if it's one of those cruise lines where you have to reserve when you get on board.
Bonus tip. Our last, and actually it's a bonus tip, is to relax and be flexible. There are going to be bumps and there might be times when you're going to be waiting a little bit longer, but try to enjoy every moment and all the small things. It's so nice to be able to travel again, and thank you to all of the wonderful crew members and everyone who's working so hard to do this and keep us all safe. So what do you think of our tips? Is there anything else that you would add to the list? Do you have a cruise booked, or are you somebody who wants to wait till things are a little bit more predictable?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everybody who has liked, commented, and subscribed. That means so much to our little channel. So thanks again and happy travels.